What's happening, everyone? And so, Arsenal, we've drawn 0-0 at the Etihad Stadium. And in so doing, we have dropped a place in the Premier League from first to second. After Liverpool beat Brighton 2-1, they have reclaimed top spot, 2 points ahead of the Gunners. We lie in second with Man City 1 point behind us. So there's 3 points now separating the top 3 teams. And it really is tight, people. And just reflecting on that match, I feel satisfied, actually. I actually feel quite okay with that result. Just the manner in which we dug it out. We showed a lot of character, a lot of discipline, a lot of focus to implement the game plan. So it was clear that we were very aware of Manchester City's threats, Manchester City's quality. So Arteta set up a system to try and nullify and counteract what Man City were producing. And it worked from that perspective. So we were very disciplined, especially in our ability to firstly press Manchester City. But if they did beat the press, we would get numbers behind the ball. And I thought Saka and Havertz and Ødegaard, Jesus, they were so industrious in making sure they tracked runners and, in Saka and Jesus' case, supported the fullback. Saka often getting back to help Ben White. Jesus the same on the other side with Kiwior. And we got a point. And we also did have moments. We did have glimpses and glimmers of opportunities, but we didn't quite capitalise. And it was interesting listening to Martin Ødegaard's post-match interview. He said, when you're running and pressing as much as we did, it's not always easy to find the energy and the composure to then play the right ball when you do get that opportunity to counter-attack. So I do have a little bit of sympathy with the fact that the final pass or the final shot wasn't quite powerful or executed well enough. We were still able to come away with, I would say, by and large, people, a positive outcome, because I think what a draw does for us, it keeps us firmly in the mix. It keeps us ahead of Man City. It means that if Liverpool were to drop points in one game, we're in a position where we could capitalise and reclaim top spot. So we're in striking distance should Liverpool slip up in any way. And with 9 games to go, you would think there are moments where Liverpool will come under threat. And if they do end up going 10 games, winning every game to win the title, you have to say fair play and you have to say they deserve it. So from that standpoint, we've put ourselves in the mix with 9 games to go. You've got to remember that 9 games of 38 is just under 25% of the season. So it's still a significant chunk. So we still have to bear in mind that if we'd thrown everything at trying to get the win, not just strategically but emotionally, it may have left us a little bit short in other matches coming up, because obviously we've got a schedule that's thick and fast. And if we'd thrown everything at it and, let's say, been picked off, it would have left us in a far trickier spot. But the fact is, we've kept ourselves in the race. We've kicked the can down the road in terms of the title conversation and potentially eliminating a particular team. All teams are still in the mix. And from that point of view, people, I'll take it. I mean, the schedule over the next couple of weeks is really intense. So obviously we've got Luton coming up now on Wednesday. And what I want to see, people, in that game is just a professional performance. Maybe a return to the type of tempo we were showing in some of those games before this international break. The ones against, for example, Newcastle at home and Burnley at home and Liverpool at home, where we were able to create opportunities, control matches, and put enough goals on the board to give us some comfort and control, and then flexibility in terms of who we could bring off the bench. That's what I want to see, people, like a performance where we we start strongly, get out to a lead, and it's a relatively routine match. It doesn't have to be a dazzling performance or a high-scoring outcome. As long as we give ourselves a cushion with enough goals, I'll be happy with that. And a clean sheet would be incredible. Like, I'm really loving the amount of clean sheets we're keeping at the moment, and especially to shut Man City out. And because they've only failed to score in one game before at home in the last couple of years, and that was against Crystal Palace back in 2021. So for us to have broken that record, or to have restricted Man City in a way that few teams have done in the past, is really a fillip in our cap, so to speak. So I'm really pleased about that, people. And another interesting aspect as we move forward will be how Arteta manages his squad, because obviously last season when we were in the Europa League, it was a case of make some changes for the Europa League. Even in that knockout game against Sporting, I believe, we did make some changes, and then go full strength in the league. But now we're in the Champions League. We're obviously going to have to play our best 11 in the Champions League, or the 11 that Arteta is favouring at the moment based on fitness, based on form. So that means some squad players may have to be used, potentially in one of these next two games against Luton or Brighton on the weekend. So does that mean Trossard could start, for example? Was Martinelli maybe held back a little bit for this next game? Is there a call maybe to start Tomiyasu instead of Kivior? Could Partey start from the beginning? Could Jesus maybe play up top? Little things we can maybe do to shift things around. It'd be interesting to see if Arteta does make any alterations. Whether Nketiah or Nelson might get a few more minutes. Maybe not starting, but maybe they could come off the bench. Maybe Smith Rowe, Vieira. Maybe we'll start seeing some of these players who have maybe not had the amount of minutes due to fitness or form considerations. So, yeah, solid enough outcome, people. Very happy with it. And just before I round off, I want to mention about some individual performances, people, because I thought Gabriel and Saliba were absolutely phenomenal in defence. The way they commanded the box, they were very disciplined and spatially very aware in terms of where to be in relation to Erling Haaland, either getting really tight in a physical battle or covering in behind, heading it so he couldn't get like a full clean contact on his header. I thought Ben White was really disciplined as well. I thought Declan Rice had a really good game, marshalling that midfield, and a few timely interceptions and some passing that he showed under pressure, ability to just pass it sideways or backwards sometimes when he was being pressed. Because sometimes Man City are so good at covering those wide areas and restricting your out balls, so to speak, that sometimes you do have to contain and play a sideways pass, because we did see sometimes Raya was a bit rushed in a couple of his kicks. And I think you got to give credit to Man City and how they position themselves on the pitch, because they don't give you much in the way of options when you're distributing from the back. So yeah, that was really impressive, people. Kivior as well. Thought he continues to grow into this role, people, at left back, and I'm really enjoying that. And what's going to be interesting for me, people, is how Arteta manages that left back role in terms of Kivior, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu. Who's going to be his favoured option when it comes to the crunch? And it may change, and it may be a fluid thing where from game to game it will shift depending on who we play, and I think that's sensible. Yeah. All right, people. We'll leave it there, but let me know if you have any comments about the game. Any comments to add will always be welcome. Don't forget to like the video if you like the video, and also to subscribe if you want to continue receiving videos like these on your feed. All right, people. Peace. Love.